Today we will be talking about energy efficiency in residential construction and renovations and how it is a problem in today's society. But first, what are the problems in residential construction? Well, the problems in residential construction is what's hurting our environment. They're also costing you money. That's the things we'll be discussing. But it cannot be solved in simply one sentence. Energy efficiency is a very broad topic because there are so many things that attribute to it. Many families in the current economy today do not have the money to buy a home that fits both their needs, size-wise, and manageability with utility bills. And even if they can, these houses are creating a large portion of the world's pollution. For example, here you'll see that solid sawn wood will produce around 1,600 pounds, engineered wood 1,400, drywall 2,000, cardboard 600, metals 150, vinyl 150, masonry 1,000, hazardous materials 50, others 1050, and that totals to almost 8,000 pounds. This is a big deal because 8,000 pounds worth of waste is really going to fill up a dump quick. Not only filling up the dump, but it'll fill up your pocket too because it'll cost around $500 to get rid of all that. The problem with this is we don't have energy efficiency either. We need to pay a little bit to save a lot more. For example, when you go into a nice home and it feels like perfect temperature, what is the reason for this? Well, it's mainly for the HVAC unit. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and cooling. These have made significant advancements in the last few years and need to be replaced if older models are still in your home. The HVAC unit is essentially what heats and cools your house, and it takes a whole lot of energy compared to older appliances if you have an old one compared to a new one. On average, the heating and cooling of your house accounts for 43% of the total electrical usage of your home. With the new HVAC unit, you'll be able to, although initially spend a little more, you'll save a lot of money in the long run. It initially will cost you around $6,000 to $10,000 for a really nice HVAC unit, but that's capable of paying for itself in 6 to 10 years, and as soon as that's over with, it's money in your pocket. Another trend that has yielded considerable returns on homeowners' investments and helping the environment is the advancement in solar energy. Solar energy is essentially the use of the sun's power-on arrays of panels to produce power naturally rather than using the electricity from the nearest electric company. Electricity, especially in Kentucky, comes a lot from coal. The burning of coal creates nasty gases which pollute the air. The less electricity that has to be created, the less energy that is required for the company to make, thus creating a greener effect. Not only does this save the world, but you can easily see cost benefits of this, especially when this system is expected to, on average, pay for itself completely in 6 years or less. After that time has passed, you are again putting money back in your pocket. Another energy efficient thing that you can do is the addition of solar-powered water heaters. An example of a solar-powered water heater would be like this. What happens is the cold water comes up, it's heated through these arrays, and then sent back down in a tank for storage. These heaters do not need a large array of solar panels to make considerable savings in energy to your home, even if you do not want to or don't have the money to put in a full array. Another great addition to your home would be for low-cost housing through green energy would be installing Energy Star appliances. Installing Energy Star appliances help reduce up to 15% of energy usage created by non-Energy Star appliances. An example of these would be here, as you see a refrigerator, stove, microwave. This goes beyond that, even into your mobile devices and other electronic things you use throughout your day. It can also be through your washer and dryer. You see more benefits on the green energy side of this through reduced water usage. Another energy efficient installation could be an energy monitor. This device will give you a usage readout every minute, allowing you to help cut down on your usages on things that may not always require a current flow of energy. These act much like a data usage on your phone, letting you know what apps are using the most data where, and you need to try to cut down in order to save. But now that we're done with that, let's talk about the advancements. Scientists have been working on a more affordable, greener type of construction material that is completely renewable. An example of this that isn't quite out on the market yet and showing a lot of promise is mycoform. Mycoform is a mycelium fungus, and it is the only living organism that is able to break down hulls. Now, this is completely renewable and grows itself. I mean, of course, you have to cut it down into size, but it is very strong. And this would be revolutionary because it would allow us not only to break down these hulls, but it would allow us to use it as a material to build with. An example of building with it in very small scale, and it's more for art, is right here. They made a little archway, and you can see it's made up of little bricks, and it is just completely a fungus. This material will never run out for as long as the conditions are able to grow. And it's one of the best things that does not take a lot of extra energy to create in newer organic materials. Another large advancement that we are seeing today is 3D printing. This right here is a concept of 3D printing. We're not to this level yet. It's showing that it's got a crane arm that comes down and puts on the roof and everything. But we have gotten to the point where we can print a house shaped just like this. It's not as smooth as what this picture appears, but it is able to create a full image and all the curvatures that you see. This material can't do the wood. It can't do any other really thing other than a concrete or recyclable paste that they came up with. Mostly you see these in small scale, but they have created one through a company named Wasp and another company it's a Chinese company that have been able to create over 10-foot walls. The company Wasp has been able to create these on completely organic materials through the ground. It excavates mud through the ground and brings it up and uses it as building material. Now these houses aren't as strong and can't withhold such winds as we might find in Kentucky or water, but in a Middle Eastern country that doesn't have as much rain or the desert, it would be very, very beneficial. The Chinese company has been able to create 10 houses in one day through their new construction. An example of some of these would be right here. This right here is a modern 3D building house. You have to put the roof on individually, but these roofs normally you can get nowadays with solar energy, and you can also save a lot of money that direction by also saving money through this. Most of the materials used in this are recyclable cementitious mix, and then the framing inside, of course, is all hand done. Through more advancements and better CAD readings, we've been able to create things such as this. This is an example of a man who created his own printer and then decided to build a castle for his kids. You can see all the ridges in here, and that is an individual line that it ran through. So it runs through and does all the edges, and then comes back around layer after layer. And it's kind of time-consuming, but it does come around, and it's actually more efficient than if you were putting up all the reinforcements and the slabs to pour concrete itself. Here is an example of the finished product, right here. Materials that we have today would be really hard to create such a thing. A steeple like this, all the curves, you'd have to have a very advanced, very expensive method, and it would use a lot of waste throughout the materials. So this 3D printer not only cuts down on waste, but it cuts down on cost to you. In conclusion, wasted energy and use of limited materials are really hurting the world. We need to update our appliances to Energy Star, heat and cool with a new HVAC system, harness the power of solar energy through water heaters and arrays, and we also need to monitor the energy output. We need to keep on going with our advancements in materials such as microform, and we also need to be funding the engineers to create organic 3D printable houses. The earth is our home, and we have nowhere else. So if we want to keep our home clean and lasting for a longer time, we need to start taking steps in order to preserve it. It may not solve all the problems, but all of these things can be a great start to helping the world and make it a little less polluted and a lot greener. Thank you. And here are my sources. Any questions?